Alright, what's up, yins, guys? I just now deleted the video I just was recording because I'm going to get straight to the point, and there's going to be another video separately because I did too much yammering and wasn't straight to the point. I'm going to go ahead and make this video first. The main objective of this video, a gang stalking video, is I'm going to go ahead outright and before I go into the other subject, which I'll talk about it maybe later in the video. Make a separate video, but I'll talk about it later in the video in case this video keeps you guys' attention. But the very main objective of this here video, I should say first before I get off the subject, is a video about a type of gang stalking that I don't know. I never seen any other gang stalking YouTubers talk about this, and this is a very important one. Okay, a form of harassment. If you've seen anybody talk about this, show me their video, send me a link, because I want to know that this needs to be said. But I deleted a video because I started going on and on off the subject. But yeah, this video is about like restroom harassment. And I don't want to get too off the subject, but this involves a subject matter why I got fired from a job, but I didn't tell the whole This is going to be the actual tale. And okay, to make the long story short, the stuff that I tell you later in a video or another video. Okay, there was stuff that I'm doing that I feature on my YouTube channels, and I still have clips from the old workplace too. Okay, let's establish. I was allowed to do it at first, but yet I was at first until I had this fight there was this harassment in a restroom, okay? And this is so-and-so's relatives, and then I ended up getting fired, and they were looking for a reason to fire me. And the lady from the I got hired off the temporary service, invited to be on the company, and she was raving about the stuff, and I was allowed when it was called wink wink yoga. But anyway, I told you guys, because when we were on the gang stalking subject about gift cards and bribes in workplaces, and then it goes on in politics, we all know it's not conspiracy theory. Because I myself, I did get caught sneaking, doing things beyond the perimeter. Like before the shift starts, there was some other things that went across the line I was sneaking to, and I paid people to hold the camera for me, but there was nobody running forklifts here and there. And I think in the video there was one person like, what the fuck's he doing carrying cardboard boxes? You know, there's nobody. But I wouldn't blame them for not allowing me to do it there, but I was paying people when I was sneaking, paid people to hold the camera. They told me quit doing that, okay, and then I quit a long time ago. I said, well, okay, I got caught, they just warned me, right? But I was still allowed, okay, an activity I was still allowed to do as long as it was within walls of, I was even doing in the break room. And lady, okay, well, she was raving about when we called it yoga. But okay, on with the incident in the restroom that actually got me fired. Okay, here's I don't know if you guys had this, so many people have this happen to them, and if anybody is women that got gang stalked this way, I mean, this happens in ladies' rooms. There, ladies start fights with each other in ladies' room too. But for men, okay, any of you guys watching, you know, I don't care if you're black watching or if you have a ponytail watching, if you're white ponytail, somebody that doesn't like you or they're stalking you, you might even think you're a fucking pervert. One of the main things that people do to harass you in workplaces is, send me a link if anybody talks about this. When you're in a bathroom taking a fucking piss, all right, you get somebody that really doesn't like you, right? Okay, and you're going in there to take a piss, right? And you get this one guy that, you know, always putting the take a piss aside for 1 second, you know, walks up to you, asks you questions that he's not even want to be in a real conversation. He's looking for shit that you can, no matter what energy you put into answering him, he just asks you shit and talks to you just so he can make noticeable faces with his mouth and with his eyes at you. And it makes it clear. That's all his only purpose is to make it clear what he thinks of you that way. But he becomes obsessed with you, right, some other kind of way, you know, maybe wants to get you fired. You're okay, you later end up being in the bathroom to take a piss. I don't know if any women have this thing. Literally watching you take a piss, and his purpose, all right, is to, because, you know, you hear the gossip and they talking about other people to see if you're washing your hands while taking a piss, and they'll talk about you, right? And you think that maybe he's some kind of fucking pervert and he's watching you take a piss, but he's following you with his eyes. You see out the corner of your eyes. You can feel its shadow standing there. And maybe he's partially the janitor in the place, in charge of the bathrooms or whatever too, but he does other work here. Watching you take a piss and follow you, and following you with his eyes to see if you're going to go to the sink to wash your hands, right? And what a lot of you guys may be that they don't get what they want, nothing happens, right? But this guy was one of them that, okay, yeah, I went and washed my hands, so he couldn't get that satisfaction from me. And so you know, this is why, like, you know, like you get a little water on the mirror, right? He was, I guess, so obsessed with me, he was pissed off that he couldn't get that thing on me where I'm walking out of the bathroom to not wash my hands. I'm in there washing my hands, right? But, you know, there's no paper towels, there's a blower or something. But I don't know, like some of you guys watching may have had other construction jobs or outside jobs or different industrial jobs where the washing your hands is different. You don't have paper towels. People, a reflex action because you did some outside work. Oh, just shake your hands, you know, afterwards after you washed with soap. And I don't know, there's some, I was going to go to the blower to wash your hands, or some have paper towels, but there's that involuntary, you know, washing your hands. You maybe a little bit of a shake of the hands, a little water. Everybody fucking gets water in the mirror. I used to be a fucking janitor part-time one time, and that was my job to clean, regardless. You know what I mean? It doesn't take that fucking long to clean a mirror off. The guy, but anyway, he didn't get the satisfaction of me walking out there without washing my hands, because he's staring at me taking a piss intently and waiting, following me. So he explodes, and then a little water gets on the mirror, and he goes, "You fucking asshole," blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, he deliberately, he's raising his voice. But if he was really worried about it, he could have asked politely. I said, "Well, geez, can you, have to clean the mirror. I'm the part-time, whatever, couldn't you be a little more careful?" And I would have apologized. You know what I mean? But, you know, like say I did that to you. I was a cleaner and I'm watching you watching. I mean, there's a right way to say something, right? And if I were to do that to one of you guys, you know, start raising my voice, who knows how you're going to react? I'd be, you know, raising my voice and doing that on purpose to try to get you. You might even think that maybe I'm going to be a martyr, you know, want attention from all my friends while I'm in a hospital, and maybe hope I'd get my nose broken, try to sue you and be on the news as some kind of, you know, victim and looking to get paid, you know, like, you know, so they can sue you, you know what I mean? And you know, they do that real loud because they don't do that outside when there's people around. You know, I mean, when there's not people, they want to make sure there's people around when they do it. I mean, even though, say there might be one person in the bathroom stall in the toilet, you don't see her or not. Or, you know, that, you know, outside, it's safer as outside, you know, there's a lot of people outside the restroom and people are working, right? But that's theoretically if you don't get that rare psychopath that might, you know, I don't even want to go there. Not like I'm like that, but, you know, people like that are taking a risk, you know what I mean? So this guy does this shit on purpose. You know, they're looking to see if you're going to wash your hands. When they want to start shit in a restroom in a workplace, they're looking to see if you're going to wash your hands. That's what they do, right? And this guy got mad because I was actually washing my hands, and he was looking for me to not wash my hands. And he does that because she was trying to start an argument, looking for something wrong. So he found water. He couldn't find that I didn't wash my hands after taking a piss. So he started a fight about water on the mirror and yelled real loud. Oh, and so then after that, he goes and tells management, and I get called in the office. And well, oh, part of the argument was too, I go to him, you don't have to speak to me that way. And I'm trying to calm him down, and I'm like, and he goes, I can talk to you any way I fucking want. So when I got called in the office, I told them, well, he says, he actually told me in this, I told him about the whole incident, and I said, well, the guy said, well, he can talk to him. He actually said to me, he can talk to me any way he wants. I said I would apologize. And I said, well, and I told them in the office, I said, well, yeah, if he thinks he can talk to me any way he wants, and I can't talk to him any way I want, right? And then you and me in the office together, right? How, if you and me can speak to each other any way we feel like it, how are we gonna? Oh, in the beginning of when I was called in the office too, when I was going to be told about it, I was told, quote, to politely do not talk, listen. So, okay, I did. I waited and listened, and I told the tale that way, right? So when they said do not talk, listen, to me that's not shut up and take my my beating or my catching of hell and go out of the office and that's it. Okay, you're done. I listened. I did not talk, and I can tell the tale right in my side, right? After you're done talking. And I get this shit look, and it's like they reluctantly listen to my thing there. But then near the end of the whole calling in the office, right? And keep in mind that when the one supervisor thought everything I was doing was wink wink yoga, it was allowed. And putting aside that it was already established a long time ago, I made an agreement with them, the stuff I got caught paying people to do, which, you know, I could have got fired right in there. They told me don't do no more. But I was still, before that incident, I was still allowed to do basic stretching what I was doing. But they told me in the office, just because of that incident, even though I told my side, that I wasn't even allowed to do any of that anymore. I said, well, can I do anything basic? You know, I mean, they kind of was indicated that they'd maybe kind of think about me doing at least that, but there was nothing established exactly what was exercise anymore. So I was doing a basic stretch, just putting my palm down on the floor, you know, after tying my boots. You know, it became harassment after that. I could be bending over tying my boots. I showed people a picture of that, you know. What it was is they were taking into consideration maybe a little bit of small things that I can still do, and it wasn't set in stone yet. But this other supervisor right ahead had fired me, and then he was waiting for me to start shit so he can have the cops drag me out of there with guns on their hip or whatever the heck, you know. That's what he was hoping. So I ended up walking home. I ride bikes to work and walk to work. I was sent out of the job to walk about 3-4 miles home in the pouring down rain. And like and these people that did that harassing, you know, before the incident in the bathroom, there was always this passive aggression and little stalking here and there and ignorant stuff. But I had friends at the same time, and you know, like you guys in your gang stalking videos, you talk about they try to chip away at the friends you have, you know, and not necessarily like the whole world's out to get you, but they do try to chip away at friends. And before all these incidents, I always rode the bike to work, and some people had a problem with that. Oh, I didn't drive a car, an SUV, and that was all part of it. And I had a little bit of in there where I was doing some splits on bare knuckle that's featured to deliver like a newspaper to some of my stalkers, so to speak. But they couldn't prove, nobody can prove a fucking reason why I was doing it. You know, a little to deliver a message, but yet it was still wink wink yoga. But through the whole thing up until getting fired, 3 fucking times a week, I was getting the tires flat. Nobody fucking knew who did it. And when I was called in the office before I was fired, I told them, I said, anybody find my tires get flat? I have highways over here where we got trucks going by like that were from scrapyards. You do get metal shards that get stuck in a tire every once in a while because this highway was well used by scrapyards. But I know the difference between a metal shard, and I was very quick with taking my tire off quicker than a jackrabbit and then applying a patch to the inner tube and being on my way. So every time before I left work, I was always slapping a patch, boom, boom, pumping the tire and being on the way. And people didn't like that. I don't know if Yin's guys were able to be that patient and good on the bicycle. You were able to just patch the tire quicker than a jackrabbit and be back on your way. But yeah, the tires were always flat, and when I went to patch them, I know the difference with a metal shard stuck in a tire, or there was always 3 times a week these other holes that looked like somebody put a pin, pulled it out of the tire, and stuck it back in again. 2 pinholes that were right next to each other like it was punctured. But I always walked around with a smile on my face, patch it right up and be on my way. But if that wasn't enough, one of the times in my belongings that were there, some motherfucker stole my keys to the bike, which I'm glad I had spare keys. But me and the girlfriend had spare keys at home, because when you get keys to bike lockers, spares, thankfully for that I didn't have to get bolt cutters. But yeah, I had keys stolen. That was on the key ring was keys to the bike and electronic key to the apartment building that I live in. So, and I was told by my building supervisor too, the story, I think I got the key stolen, but she gave me a new electronic key, and she says the one more time, don't lose this, because the one more time, I don't want to see it happen, but it's going to cost, you're going to have to be charged for that, So nobody knows what happened to the key ring, because the way shit doesn't just fall out of a dang bag the way I had it, I mean, there was a couple other incidents. People tried to start arguing fights with me at the damn workplace, right? Before all that, I had the keys missing. Nobody knew. Oh, and one more thing. This could be nothing too, but the very boss that fired me, when I very first started working there, he, in a very arrogant way, this could be nothing. Instead of asking a certain way, oh, a nice bike, could maybe I take it a spin sometime, with you over there? He comes with me with a jokingly arrogant tune. This was a supervisor that fired me. In the very beginning, before when I would start working there, instead of asking me a certain way, he goes, can I have the key to the bike? And I go, what for? I said, you want to take it on a ride? I kind of politely said, like, what for? And no, or maybe later sometime, I don't know. But I made I don't know, I said a little bit of, there's little things that need adjusted or whatever too. But I don't know, the way he was looking at me and asked, and I declined no. He didn't ask it like a friendly way you might have asked me, had taken the bike for a spin. Like, maybe you'd like to have one. You ride bikes, so I like to see how this bike is. Maybe I'll buy one. No, the way, if you should have been there the way he asked me, and I kind of said no. And I almost got to wonder, I'm not being paranoid here. I'm thinking whether he got somebody. I'm not saying for sure, how the fuck do I know he wasn't damn puncturing the tires? Because we even had cameras right there outside in a perimeter. And when I was called in the office, I was called in the office for everything I told you, right? And I say, by the way, before I left there, I says, oh, does anybody know who the fuck's been puncturing my tires 3 times a week yet? And they were politely, guy could look into it. Like somebody didn't freaking know or see something. But one of the things you should be getting out of this too, that the ability to change patch up a inner tube quicker than jackrabbit put a tire back on, is a very essential thing, and it'll piss off some of your stalkers. But then they will turn up the heat and do other shit. Like, for example, the keys to the bike were stolen, which had my keys to the apartment building on, which I had to get the electronic key to the apartment building replaced, and I had to, I could have went ahead and got bolt cutters and cut the bike lock off, but I got the spare key. I walked home and got the spare key instead. But then fast forward, the story I told you happened later on. You know what I mean? And I didn't bring the bike. I didn't bring the bike the one day. Yeah, another story. I had other things, that I had to fix the bike, too. Everything from, but in a rainy day like that, there was other reasons. I ended up, when I got fired, I walked home in the pouring down rain. Literally, it was pouring all over me, literally, and I was so drenched. But not that I'm a victim, but I'm like, But yeah, I was in communications with a few people that work there to this day. I'm saying who that tell me all kind of information that's still going on in the place. That they, uh, it's kind of in a you didn't hear it from me. I don't know nothing kind of way. Slip me a little information and all that. But yeah, I hope I didn't get the story. Too much getting to the point. But I was trying to establish. I said in some of my other videos that there was stuff that I was, that was you could technically get fired for or whatever too. That was, but there was no forklifts or anything. And I worked at a place called Ardex, which nobody threatened to fire me, and I have that in a video too, which I paid a guy. Which another thing I wanted to tell you here, whether it's gang stalking or not, in politics and in anything you're doing, you and me, if we have a goal in something that's something we aspire to do, we're doing a little bit, whether it's to hold a camera, whether it's giving gift cards or paying money, people don't do shit for nothing either. Same thing with gang stalking people. And at my workplace, I told you in other videos, yeah, gift cards were given for the holidays and all that stuff too. But there was gift cards and money slipped and extra privileges slipped aside to harass people, which led to one of the people that was one of my best friends that gave me a ride home once when I was sick. Somebody had to have given her something like you talking gift cards, money or whatever, to turn around and stalk me on Facebook when I was talking about Facebook, why I was fired. And she, of all people, all of a sudden, I stand with the company and it was rehearsed. Somebody told her what to say scripted to write on the Facebook. And I was like, oh, holy shit, you? What did they tell you? What did they threaten to fire you? Or who was giving you something? But I was doing Salvation Army charity later after getting laid off. And she come to me later all nice and told me, even with the Salvation Army apron on, I went teasing her a little bit. I'm like, oh, yeah, little Miss Stan with the company. But then turned around, she said, and it was a holiday, she told me her husband died all of a sudden. Then it turned into, oh, man, I'm sorry. Even with somebody like that, because she was a friend once. And, oh, I'm sorry that happened. And I had a little Dunkin' Donuts gift card, in my pocket that somebody gave me here. I didn't want to press anything either way, And then I'm not a kind of person to say just because their husband died and because they did that to you either. I'm not that, cruel and